Hello, this is a recording of the workshop supporting our children in literacy for kindergarten through second grade. Just a bit about me, I'm Shannon Finley. I'm the K-5 ELA curriculum coordinator for all 4 elementary schools in Walpole. Prior to joining Walpole, I was an instructional coach, a literacy specialist, and a classroom teacher in grades 1, 3, and primarily 4. Most importantly, I want you to know that I'm you. I have an 8-year-old son, Harrison, who's in 3rd grade, and a 1st grade daughter, Kyle, both at Boyden. And teaching our own children is very hard. I feel your struggles, your frustrations. There have been many days when I felt absolutely like a failure. And I by no means am an expert in teaching through a pandemic. I do hope I can share a few little tips and strategies that might make this experience a little bit easier. Just before I start, I always keep in mind that all children are uniquely amazing and on their own literacy journey. So some of the strategies I share may work for one child and not another. They may work on Tuesday and not on Wednesday. So being flexible with ourselves and our children, and being patient and keeping an open mind to try something new. So my big goals are that you walk away with a new idea or a strategy to try, possibly a new book or series that might excite and motivate your child, and just reassurance that you're on the right path and you're doing the right thing for your child. First thing to think about is finding a good spot for learning at home. I know what you think is a good learning spot for our children may not be the same as what they think. So kind of making them part of that decision and be the boss of choosing their spot in terms of really thinking about where they're going to do their best learning. So this is an anchor chart I sometimes use with teachers to get kids, especially K through 2, to really start thinking about themselves as learners and the type of environment they do their best learning. And these are my 2 children where, just like you, I have a desk set up in a place where I thought they would do their best learning, but they typically end up somewhere else. My second tip is just really to love or pretend to love books. I think especially in K2, our primarily goal is for students to fall in love with books and reading and writing and really see themselves as readers and writers of their own stories, be excited to talk and share about books. So even as they start to read on their own, it's really valuable to still read to them and have them listen to you read. Reading with them can be fun. There's so many fun books that there are characters and speech bubbles where you could take over one of the characters and they could take over the other. Listening to them read, no matter how slow sometimes or painful that may be, if they're excited to read to you, really encouraging that and allowing them to, giving them a few minutes of time to let them read to you. Audiobooks are a great resource with everybody so busy and people trying to juggle working from home. Putting on an audiobook and letting students and children listen to books is very beneficial. And I know we're all trying to balance screen time versus non-screen time. And so, but there are a lot of great online books and apps. Just a plug for the Walpole Public Library. It is now open. You do not need an appointment if you're feeling comfortable and safe to go visit the library. They will also put books out in the garden for you if you call and let them know what you'd like. A neighborhood book swap can be a great idea in order to safely get more books and excite kids about some new books that is virtually cost-free. And there are Park Street Books and Savers are really great options if you are looking to purchase books that are very inexpensive. And I've got an extensive list of titles to try. The Scholastic Acorn series is a great one for the K through 2. Again, it's very graphic. There's a lot of speech bubbles. That seems to be what the kids are loving to read these days. Books by Mo Willems, are always a really big hit. And then I just took a picture of some of the latest books I got at the local public library that seemed really interesting. There's also an extensive list here of series books. I feel if we can hook kids on a series, we've got them kind of set up for a little bit of time and set ourselves up for what books to buy next. And then based on the workshop, people were looking for even more books. So I do have an extensive list of book recommendations. My third tip is to really celebrate reading and writing choices. We're really pushing ourselves in school to offer more choice around students selecting what they're reading and what topics they're writing about, letting them be the boss of their own reading and writing. And so sometimes these are some of the things we want to say to students and thinking, or our kids at home, and then thinking about sort of shifting and pausing and remembering that choice is going to lead to engagement and motivation and excitement. And if students are rereading books multiple times, that's actually a really great thing. It's going to build their confidence, their fluency, and their comprehension or understanding of the book. I know some families and caregivers struggle with graphic novels, but graphic novels are really an amazing resource to excite and engage kids. And they really do require a higher level reading skill, such as inferring and synthesizing, where there is so little sometimes in the text that students really and children really do have to rely on the pictures and use what they're seeing and make a lot of inferences to understand that. My fourth tip to try is to coach instead of correct and really celebrate approximations, especially with K through 2 students as they're really starting to read and write more on their own. We want to celebrate that. We don't want to discourage that. We want them to be independent. So some of the strategies when they ask, what does this word say? Some of the things that we're trying to shift away from in school is to just give them the answer, right? Sometimes that's the quickest way to just read it for them. But what we're trying to get them to do is internalize some reading strategies that good readers use. So we say, like, look at the first letter, look at the picture, think about what's happening in the story, and then putting all of that together to really go back. And then again, look at the letters and really try to figure out the word. I'm asking them, does it look right? Does it sound right? Does it make sense? And then reading through the whole word, especially K and 1, they really start hyper-focusing on the first letter of the word and then guessing at the rest. So really looking at all the letters in the word to help them read that word. And then just getting them to understand that some words in the English language you can tap or sound out. And then there are some words that you just need to know and read in a snap, we say. So for example, the word ship would be a word that you could tap or sound out. I can say sh, eh, where is just a word. You see it so much in books, you can't sound it out. It's just a word you have to know. Same goes with spelling. Kids are so quick to just say, how do you spell? They want to be right. And so instead of just spelling the word for them, again, we're trying to foster a sense of independence and ownership for the reading writing process. You might say the word slowly, stretch out the sounds, write the sounds you hear. So for example, a student was trying to write soccer. And so together we really thought about soccer. Soccer. What sound do we hear first? S, write it down. Soccer. They heard the C next, so I celebrated that because that is a letter there. And then the R at the end. For kindergarten, that was amazing. I did show them the correct spelling after, but to get that down was really great for an early kindergarten reader. And then my last tip is really to think about, this is, I think, a little bit more for grades 3 through 5, but I wanted to include it in here, to conversate instead of interrogate, I like to say. Sometimes we have to trust that our children are doing what they're doing. We have to trust our students that they're doing what they're doing. So instead of coming from a place of interrogation, meaning like there's no way you could have done that, like saying, how did you possibly read that book in 5 minutes? There's no way. Tell me everything that happened in that book. You might say something like, wow, you finished that book so quickly. What was your favorite part? And then I give a couple of more examples there. So really that's it. I have my email here if you want to talk further about anything you heard in these slides, or you have any questions. I will do my very best to answer them. And of course, always reach out to your classroom teacher or your principals of in your schools. And I look forward to hopefully seeing you in schools sometime soon. Bye.